All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to tackle a question that has completely shaken up an entire profession. In a world that moves at the speed of an agile sprint, what on earth happens to the business analyst? Seriously, the ground has shifted beneath our feet, and it's time to figure out if we're going to evolve or disappear.
Oh, you remember it. We all do. That legendary 300-page requirements document. That big book. We'd spend months, literally months, documenting every single possible detail up front. We'd create this massive tome that, let's be honest, was probably out of date the second it came off the printer. But hey, it was our shield, right? Our single source of truth. Well, in today's world, that whole approach is a dinosaur, a relic. The days of spending all that time on big upfront design and documentation are, for the most part, completely over. The game has totally changed, and the tools we used to rely on now belong in a museum. And that, of course, leads us to the big, scary question. If the main thing we used to produce, that giant document, is now obsolete, does that mean the role of the business analyst is obsolete too? Are we about to go the way of the dodo? Well, let's find out. You see, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. The real answer is found by understanding the agile transformation. And that's because it isn't just a new set of processes, it's a fundamentally new way of thinking and working. So here's the absolute key. It's this shift right here. We've moved away from creating that massive big book, and instead, we've embraced what's called just-in-time analysis. The new mantra is simple. Just enough, just in time. It's all about giving the team exactly what they need for the next sprint, keeping them moving without bogging them down with details about the future that, are almost guaranteed to change anyway. And this right here gets to the very heart of the Agile Manifesto. It's about valuing real human collaboration, actual conversations, over static documents. The user story, the wireframe, the diagram, those things don't replace the conversation. No, they support the conversation. The best way to build a shared understanding is to get people in a room, get in front of a whiteboard, and just talk. Okay, so we get the big philosophical shift, but what does this actually look like day to day? Here's a fun fact. If you read the official Scrum Guide, you won't find a role called business analyst. But, and this is a big but, the functions a BA performs are absolutely critical for a team to succeed. Let's look at how this works in practice. In an agile world, the BA's job really crystallizes into these three core functions. First, you're there to support the product owner. Second, you facilitate understanding for the whole team. And third, you're a master of refining the product backlog. Let's break each of these down a little more. First up, supporting the product owner. Think of yourself as the PO's most trusted partner. The PO has the vision, the what and the why. The BA then becomes this sort of requirement detective, digging deep into the details behind that vision. You're the one working with stakeholders to turn big, fuzzy ideas into small, actionable user stories. And you're the one bringing the data to help the PO make those tough calls on what to build next. Second, the BA is the ultimate bridge. You are the communication hub, connecting the business world with the development world. So when a developer asks, hey, why does this button have to be blue? The BA is there to provide the context, because our latest user research shows that blue increases customer trust by 15%. You're that constant source of clarity, that go-to person for the team all sprint long. And third, you're the one keeping the engine running. A healthy, well-prioritized backlog is the absolute lifeblood of any good Agile team. The BA is central to making that happen. You're facilitating those backlog refinement sessions, helping the team slice up big, scary features into small, bite-sized pieces. Your main goal here is to make sure that any story that goes into a sprint is truly ready, that it's clear, understood, and ready to be built. So, to pull off all those functions, supporting, facilitating, refining, you're going to need a modern toolkit. The classic analytical skills are still important, of course, but now there's a whole new set of essential skills that you've got to build on top of that foundation. Number one, and I mean without a shadow of a doubt, is communication and facilitation. In a world that's all about conversation, your ability to lead a workshop, to navigate a tough discussion between stakeholders, and to create a real shared understanding, well, that's not just a nice to have anymore. It is the job. Next up is adaptability, and this is a big one. Because in Agile, requirements will change. That's not a failure of the process, that is the process. A great Agile BA doesn't just tolerate change, they welcome it. You have to be comfortable living in a state of some uncertainty, ready to pivot as the team learns more. Your domain expertise also becomes way more important than ever before. And why is that? Well, the more you understand the business you're in, the customers, the market, the operations, the better you can be the voice of that customer in the room. You provide that crucial context that helps the dev team make smart decisions every single day.
And finally, this is where the role really transforms. You go from being a requirements documenter to a creative problem solver. You're not just taking orders and writing them down anymore. No way. You are a co-creator of the solution, working hand in hand with the entire team to find the best, most valuable way to solve a real business need. And really, if there's one idea that captures this entire shift, it's this. You're not just a scribe sitting on the sidelines translating conversations into a document. You are an invaluable, deeply integrated part of the team, a strategist, a facilitator, and a problem solver. So let's bring this all home. Why does any of this matter? Why is this evolution so important, whether you're a BA yourself or you work with one? Here's the big takeaway. The business analyst role didn't die when Agile came along. Not even close. It evolved. It became more dynamic, more collaborative, and frankly, more essential than it has ever been. It's now all about making sure that every single thing the team builds delivers real, tangible value to the business.
So the real question isn't whether the BA role is a relic. The real question is, how are you adapting? Because the Agile world never, ever stands still. So as we wrap this up, the thing I want you to think about is this. What are you doing tomorrow to keep learning, keep collaborating, and keep evolving?